Fox News Alert. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has been impeached over the border crisis. It is the first time a cabinet secretary has been impeached in 148 years.
Now the ball moves over to the Senate, where a trial will likely begin later this month to ultimately determine whether he should be removed from office. Texas Congressman Gooden voted to impeach Mayorkas, and he joins us now. Congressman, good morning to you. So Democrats control the Senate, and it's very unlikely that they're going to vote to kick him out of office. So what was the goal here?
Well, the goal here was to show the American people that Republicans are on the side of border security. We are on the side of the American people. And frankly, we got to the point where we were seeing this executive administration, in this case DHS, not enforcing laws that Congress has passed. And that's the purpose of the executive branch of government, is to carry out Congress's wishes and enforce the laws. Secretary Mayorkas was not doing that, and impeachment is a final tool, a last-ditch effort, if you will, to hold the administration accountable. And unfortunately, we've come to this point because our border is not secured. Secretary Mayorkas has ignored the will of the people. He has not followed the laws. He has instructed his department to not follow the laws that are already on the books. And we've come to this point where we are having to impeach an official for the first time in 150 years.
President Biden says, quote, history will not look kindly on House Republicans for their blatant act of unconstitutional partisanship that has targeted an honorable public servant in order to play petty political games. Your response to that, Congressman?
Well, frankly, I have spoken with Secretary Mayorkas. I have seen him thumb his nose up at the Judiciary Committee, of which I'm a member. He is not interested in any accountability. He has lied to the American people. And frankly, his performance in this administration is the most disgraceful of all members of the cabinet. I'm disappointed in this president for defending him. I'm disappointed in him for lying to the American people, for lying to Congress. I think impeachment is, in fact, overdue. I'm happy that we finally got our votes in line last night and that we have taken this next step. And we've got to get to the point where we're securing our border. And Secretary Mayorkas has abdicated his duty to the American people. And I think this is a very good move by Congress last night.
But, Congressman, are you concerned that if he does stay in office and the Senate doesn't vote to kick him out, then the Biden administration is going to do a victory lap and say that he's exonerated? How would you respond to that?
I don't believe that the Senate will take this seriously. If you recall, though, after Nancy Pelosi led all the witch hunt impeachments against President Trump, she lectured the American people, especially Republicans, about how serious impeachment was. And so I would expect Democrats to hold the seriousness of this impeachment that they did for prior impeachments that they pursued. I don't suspect that will be the case. I think the Biden administration is so accustomed to lying to the American people. They declare victory every day. They tell the American people what a great job they're doing. They tell the American people that the border's secure. The American people don't believe that, and I believe that history will be judged on this administration in the form of an election rebuke come November.
Meantime, you are demanding transparency from the Biden administration on this alleged Fani Willis meeting. Basically, you wrote a letter to the White House saying you have to come clean as to why a state prosecution in a random county in Georgia needed to meet with the White House counsel. That's sort of the overarching demand in your letter. What specific questions do you want answered, Congressman?
Well, I'd like to know why this state prosecutor, and the one I'm referring to is the gentleman who's had the inappropriate relationship with someone who's paying his bills, and that's Fani Willis, the prosecutor. Frankly, let me correct myself. That's the taxpayers of Fulton County and the federal taxpayers across this nation, because they have received quite a bit of federal funds to that office there in Fulton County, Georgia. I'd like to know what kind of coordination the White House had with this prosecutor, who then went to work for Fani Willis, who has continued overseeing this prosecution of Donald Trump. I'd also like to know to what extent her office as a whole continues to work with the Justice Department, because this comes down to the weaponization of government and election interference. If the White House is working with a prosecutor in Georgia, a state prosecutor, to prosecute a now opponent to this president in a presidential year, that's the definition of election interference, and that's what the American people are sick of. That's what we've been accused of on the Republican side for many years. And frankly, it's disgraceful that we've gotten to this point where this White House and Joe Biden are doing everything they can to stop President Trump from running and winning the White House.
It's a big case, and it's one that took a turn that nobody anticipated, and a lot of questions remain. Congressman Gooden, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.